with the current figure, you say about 180,000 vehicles. What percentage of that is the traffic going to use the new crossing if it was at option C? And surely you're just taking, are you going to be in competition, or is one organisation going to have the tolls from both? Also, the vehicles coming through Dover, how are they going to pay? You could charge the vehicles £75 for a foreign vehicle, commercial vehicle, and the ferry company could collect it and pay the government. You do that with airport departure tax, and that could pay their tolls and a contribution towards the roads. But no matter which way you look at it, you say greatest economic benefit is option C. I dispute that because you've got no facts to justify saying that. So the whole thing seems rigged. But the Kent County Council as well, if they're going to meet on the 15th of July, and you want an answer by the 16th of July, seems rather a strange date.
Well, all of the council meetings are sequenced a year in advance, so we didn't know there was a consultation coming up. Okay. Okay, you've made your point. That'll be fed back. I'm going to take two more at the back, and then I know some of the folks at the front want to have a couple of minutes each. So, Les, you've got one over there, and if you use, we'll have your one as well, okay?
Hi, I'm Julie from Chalk. It's just, this whole meeting, you don't seem to understand that we all live in small communities, villages, etc. You drew a nice little pattern going across where you're going to build a bridge straight through Chalk Church. I mean, 1,000 years of practice there, straight past people's kitchen windows, and we have to sit here and not worry where this little dotted line went. So that's what's really important to me, is knowing where your line is going. And the question wasn't answered by the lady in front of me. As soon as she tried to put her point across, the mic was taken away. And I just want to, I hope I've...
Okay.
How far off the route that's drawn are you allowed to go with the road? Once, if an option is chosen, can you be 3 miles east of the option C dotted line? How far from that dotted line are you allowed to go once that option's chosen?
There isn't a hard and fast rule about that. What we would be looking to do is generate options that people can then be put out for you to look at.
Okay, well, no one can hear you because you haven't got a microphone. I think that was the answer. But what I would say is there's been a lot of maps, and if you ever go on Google Map and you zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, you actually see people at the end of the day, and I think that's some of the things that's probably been missed from some of these maps that we've seen. There are actually people, and that will be affected by this. Let's take one more there, and then I'm going to move down to the front. No, we're going to take the lady over there.
Hello, it's Karen Roberts from Chalk. With all the controversy about the weather changing, if you do this across in sort of sea, do you think it may cause more flooding problems?
So the extent of the analysis we've done so far, clearly we're looking at impact on river. And that's one of the conclusions that we've drawn, is that none of the options pose an issue in terms of negative impact upon the river and how it works. And clearly we would need to do more work, and we need to keep reaffirming that. But one of the primary objectives of this piece of work was to understand whether or not there was a fundamental negative impact, as that if you built something there, it would cause that problem on the river, and therefore we would need to knock it out.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to take one more before we go into the front row here from the vicar. Is that your correct title? Vicar of Chalk. It was in the paper this morning as well, and it's his church that's going to get knocked down.
First of all, I think sort of half apologies to the officials, because I really feel it should be the minister who's here getting the flag and not them. But I mean, I think we understand the idea behind projections, but we are sceptical of them. I've seen a graph of usage of the crossing, and actually I've seen that it has plateaued, and even the last couple of years it has actually fallen slightly. So all the projections, it doesn't necessarily ring true. And even if it is true, if we were to continue to use it, wouldn't it be better to use our intelligence to find a better way of doing it, like maybe improving port infrastructure further north, etc., and finding incentives for firms to use it, rather than ruining all our roads, which are not even properly maintained as they currently should be. I think, slightly flippantly, I would say that it seems to, from your own figures, cost between 3 and 5 billion to save 5 minutes in a car journey. Slightly less flippantly, from your own figures, it says that there will be, if we do option C, 60,000 extra road accidents over the course of the next 60 years. That's an extra 1,000 a year, which is very roughly 3 a day. And I think many of us would say that our experiences of car journeys being delayed on big roads are due to accidents. So it's just not a panacea to keep building new roads. I mean, if the answer is always to build another road, where will it end? When all the green belt has gone? I think the politicians need to answer that.
Thank you very much. You're clearly the most popular man here this evening. Can I just stay there for a moment, but can I thank you anyway? I would just like to give a few minutes. We've got 10 minutes left. We have to be out of here at 9 o'clock, and the TV link will drop down at 9. I'd like to just give Colin Caller a couple of minutes. Colin is the County Councillor for Gravesham East. John Burden is here. Thanks for coming down from your conference, John. A couple of minutes there. A couple of minutes for John Cubitt, and then a couple of minutes for Adam Holloway, who's our MP. That should take us up to 9 o'clock. So, Colin, you've got a microphone.
Thank you. I won't be too long because you've adequately raised all the points that I would have wished to have raised. I just am concerned about what the primary driver is behind this crossing. Is it actually going to be the cost of each of the options, or is it the growth? On the point of growth, I'm really concerned because that becomes self-defeating. You're taking you claim that this is the biggest growth one, the one in C, and the one in B is also a bigger growth than the one A. The problem I find with that is that you're just moving a problem. If by removal of the toll booths, and I'll put it that way, to get the traffic flowing freely at Dartford does not cure the traffic problem at Dartford, what on earth possesses someone to think that putting a road in that's going to create growth, i.e. more traffic, and moving it 7 miles up the road to North Ockenden onto the M25 is actually going to make the traffic flow better per se on the M25. So I question the actual logic behind some of the statements that are being made. On the position of councils, the GBC, I think, council's position is very, very clear. The leader has continuously stated our position. I'm no doubt he'll reiterate it in a few minutes. I'm concerned. I know what Brian is saying in relation to his own views on this, but the fact is Paul Carter has made it clear what his position as KCC leader is on this. I've voiced the same concerns that have been said here about the delay that KCC is in actually bringing forward their own view on this to the 15th of July. We voiced that there was no recommendation. There was no recommendation came before the Highways Committee that I sat on, where we both spoke against it. I, to this day, still don't understand why that was, or why it was given such low priority on that agenda. But those are the facts, and I too have got serious concerns about the broadness of this location, because on the one side you've got it running through the middle of Higham, and on the other you've got it running right through the middle of Chalk.
Okay.
And we've got to stop
Can you hand over to Jane, who wants just to have a minute?
Yes.
Can you do it a minute?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
I just want to say thank you very much for what you've said. One of the things you said actually made me very concerned. You said that originally there was 5 options. And then you said there was 2 less value for money and alleviating problems. That means something sinister to me, in a sense. Where were the other two options that were turned down because they wouldn't alleviate the problems? Thank you.
So the other two options were set out in the study that was published in 2009 that was undertaken for the department by Parsons Brincop, and they were both for the east of the sea location.
But you're not answering the question. Why wouldn't they alleviate the problems if the traffic is coming from Dover?
So they alleviate the problems to a lesser extent than the existing. Sorry if I didn't make it clear. They alleviate the problems both at the existing crossing and in terms of helping economic growth, and therefore the benefit cost ratios were lower than for the three options that are being consulted on at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to ask John Burden now, who's the leader of Gravesham Council, to give us a quick 2 minutes, if that's all right, John. And I think we know your position.
Right. Good evening, everybody. On the position as far as the council is concerned, it is quite clear. We will be opposing all three options, A, B and C. To be fair to all councillors on the authority, I also should be very clear and say that we did have a motion that went through council in the autumn of last year, supported by all members, that opposed the crossings and said that we wanted to remove the barriers and see what happened when we removed the barriers, and that was the position of the council. So it's a united view, and it's something that I think we should, as a community, come around and work together on. And I think that's what I'm looking for out of tonight and going forward. I think as far as the options are concerned in themselves, my apologies for getting here late. I wanted to be here on time and early, but I didn't make it.
You got stuck at the Dartford Tunnel.
Actually, I wasn't. I was stuck on trains. I managed to make some connections on trains down from Manchester, so that's why I was a wee bit late. But as far as I understand, I picked up some of the issues around option B. Now, that's obviously as a Northley councillor. I'm also very interested in and would be opposing as a Northley councillor, as some residents here are opposing it for Dartford, for the same reason. However, when I think you've been given an indication that option B is being discussed with the promoters of Paramount, and therefore the option potentially is still on the table, can I be very clear on that? As far as the proposer of that scheme is concerned, there has been meetings with the Department of Transport, and I will confirm that. Those meetings have also been clear, as I understand it, that if there was to be any option that went through B, it had to be completed by 2019. And without that being finished and in place, that's not 2019, 2019 we're in 13. 2019 had to be finished by 2019, because it could not have the scheme and that option being done at the same time. Now that is impossible to achieve. And I think as an answer to a question from what you were saying earlier, that cannot be achieved. He is also very clear that if it goes in any option through B, be it a bridge or a tunnel going underneath, he will not be able to complete his scheme. He will walk away. So if it's an economic benefit argument here, you're going to be losing 27,000 jobs for this immediate area if you put it through B. So that point's been made all the way through this consultation process in private. I'm therefore very worried that we're consulting on three options when we actually know one of them has got no legs on it anyway. So what are we actually consulting on?
Okay.
So I think the final point is, if the consultation period is closing shortly, I think we need to know as a community, because it affects all your homes, it affects my home, everybody here. We need to know, when will the Minister be making a decision? When can we know what we can either celebrate is not going to happen? Because all the four leaders of Dartford, Gravesham, the Unitary Authority of Thurrock and Southend have united, and we're opposing the schemes, and we will be coming quite clearly back to government saying that we want none of the above. Remove the tolls, see how the roads work. That's what those four leaders are going to be saying. So that is a very clear position for all of us. Now the government has got to listen. What we need to now know from the Minister, and this is where Adam can come and help us, is when will that Minister give us the answer? He can put down a ministerial question, we can get an answer, we can get on with our lives. But we do need an answer, and we need it soon.
I think you're absolutely right. Can I just... I was just going to ask John Cubitt very quickly, because John Burton was absolutely right. When there has been a vote at Gravesham Council, we've had real unity across all of the, well, there's only two political parties there, but everybody's been agreed in the approach, and that's been the case. And so the question, I guess, to John Cubitt, who's the leader of the opposition at Gravesham, is that going to continue?
Well, there's absolutely no question of that. We are equally opposed to all the options, and we will support this council in opposing them in every way we can. Having said that, I think we need to go away from here and all send a return in, and because it's unclear about A, B and C, indeed how wide these corridors are, the detail of where they run, I think we would want to oppose them anyway and say very clearly to the Minister that we want it looked at when the tolls are free-flowing, hopefully when the A13 junction 30 has taken a lot of the delays out of the other side of the bridge, those two bits in place, and we want it, when it comes back, everybody here wants the detail of exactly where it's running through. They want to know how their homes are affected.
Okay, thank you. We're going to run out of time. Now, you did say there was a question which was important about when's the Minister going to make his mind up?
Right, so there were 2 points made. One is we've had one meeting with Paramount Park where they expressed the views, but those views were not expressed to us before we went out to consultation. I think it's just very important to clarify that point. The Paramount Park weren't, we didn't have any meetings with Paramount Park prior to consultation. Sorry, but not with the department. And the second point is the consultation closes on the 16th of July. We will need to analyse responses. We're planning to put advice to the Minister during the summer. We're expecting a decision in the autumn. And that's the timetable he's on. He is very keen to make a decision as quickly as he possibly can after the end of the consultation. There is some parliamentary process where he is obliged to consult with other members of the Cabinet on what that decision might be.
Okay,
but
good.
That's
Now,
his plan.
I want to give the
last
2 minutes to our man at Westminster, because we expect him to do a lot of lobbying up there. Well, come around the front because I can't see you. Adam Holloway, what are you going to do for us about all this?
Well, firstly, can you hear me?
Use this one.
Firstly, I think the Department of Transport actually could save an awful lot of cash on expensive consultants by listening to some of the people we've had here who've made some really, I thought, very smart comments, lots of which actually hadn't begun to occur to me. It's very good that there is political unity locally, but, you know, let's be honest about this. I mean, Paul Carter at Kent County Council is not being very helpful to our cause. But well, perhaps we should bring him here. But let's be honest about this too. I mean, whichever government was in power, Green, UKIP, Labour, Tory, Liberal, we would be having this. I mean, this didn't just start yesterday. So the challenge for us locally, as the leader has said, is to get our point across. So from where we are today, we have got to, all of us, I hope every single person, as I said in that letter that I hope you got after we trounced around all the last week delivering them, is to please put something into the consultation. That's my main message for this evening. The second one is, because it's been a little bit hot for these two at times in the course of the evening, and because they are actually the people who are going to be reading through these things and talking to the Minister, can everybody make a real effort as they leave to be really charming, so that they leave with a very positive view of us, so they forget any of earlier stuff. But, more seriously, we can beat about the bush, and, I can bang on about the fact that those marshes are my running route and it will be ruined, and we can bang on about the environment and air quality and, newts and that sort of thing. But actually, the bottom line, and I mean, the main message from me to you two and your colleagues, and the main message that I get across to the unfortunate Stephen Hammond every time I walk past him, is that this actually is about people's mortgages and their working lives. And, if every household of those 5,000 or so that we dropped those leaflets at were to lose even 1,000, let alone the more likely tens of thousands of pounds in value. I mean, that is years and years of people's lives. And that, to me, is, you know, a very, very significant cost in this, and it is to all of you. And I hope that what may save us, and it's by no means a slump dank, is going to come here, but, you know, 5,000 million quid when you're a country that's virtually bankrupt is rather a lot of money, and I just pray no one thinks they can spend it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Adam, and to everyone else who's spoken. Can I thank you both, Fiona, James, for coming along this evening. I hope it hasn't been too bad for you. You'll go away with a good view of Gravesham.
I just say, in all seriousness, I can absolutely and utterly understand there is a lot of feeling in the room. You know, we are here primarily to say to you, this is a consultation. We need to hear your views in order that that reaches through when we put advice to ministers. That is why we're here. That is my message to you. I'm not here to say A is better than B or to say this won't have an impact or anything like that. We've done some analysis. We've put it out to try and inform a consultation. We need you to respond to that consultation. So I've heard what you have said, but I need you to write in and respond so that when we put advice to the minister which says how many people are in favour of this and how many people are in favour of that, we've got those information and those statistics there, and we can say this is what people said to us face to face, and then they backed up and they wrote it in. So I absolutely and utterly, you know, reinforce what everyone else said. It doesn't matter that you want to say something and, you know, it's a bit harsh, that's fine. But the point is, that's, you know, I'm not here for people to say nice things. I'm here because we genuinely want to show that we are here to listen, and we genuinely want you to participate in this consultation. So please do write in and let us know your views by the 16th of July. This is your opportunity to influence the decision the minister will make.
Can I just ask, who has actually responded already to the consultation? And who hasn't? Well, there you are. That's the message. Please, please, please go online or write or email a response back. I hope you found this evening interesting. I'm sorry we can't go in for any longer. You can watch it all again, I think, on Gravesham TV if you want to look how good you look on television. But thank you for coming and good night.